What happens when a couple of friends deep dive into silly Star Wars thoughts and questions you never knew you needed answered?
Do you think that Shmi and Qui-Gon did the Funky Town dance?
Oh, yeah.
You do?
Oh, yeah. 100% that was her being like, come on, let's go to bed, you know?
She was coming to invite us.
Yeah.
Join us for some casual conversation on the Cantina Chat podcast featuring Jordan and Sean.
All right, welcome in. Thanks for joining us for another episode of our Cantina Chat podcast. Pretty excited today. We're going to be getting right back to our old formula that we started with.
Back in the gold, baby. Back in the gold.
I'm super excited for this because I think the only thing I can call this is like the post-Acolyte era, where now we're getting back to like what we were doing originally. We started out this adventure on our podcast with the Phantom Menace.
Yeah, first episode was episode 1, so.
Yeah, so super excited to be coming back, and now we're going to get to do the Attack on Clones, Attack of the Clones, second one. Which is pretty cool. But of course we've got Mr. Jedi Jester Jordan. Yeah, how's your day, buddy?
You know, it's quite well, you know.
Quite well today.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes,
awesome.
sir. How about yours?
It's been good, man.
Good?
It's
Yeah?
been good.
Okay.
Thanks. We've got, of course, our Force Ghost on the coast with us as well, Miss Savannah. How about you?
Hello, I'm Peachy Keen, thank you.
Okay, that was
Peachy Keen.
That's something. That's something they used to say in 1942.
Oh.
Common phrase.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah,
Of course, you know me as the friendly neighborhood Sith. So pretty interesting. We're going to kind of be changing up the format a little bit for us going forward. So hopefully that's nice and exciting, but I think it'll afford us a little bit more time to kind of deep dive into these and kind of removing that arena bit, but just kind of taking off some of those constraints. So I wanted to ask you a question, like right off the bat, because
It's always questions with you.
I know. But like preparing for this,
Yeah.
I rewatched, obviously the episode 2 again.
Right.
I've seen this movie like 50 times. I don't know how many times you've seen it. Probably
Yeah.
way up there, right?
Yeah.
I thought I'm going to watch this again in preparation for the show. And I figured there's no way we see something new in there.
Right.
But there's a couple things that I don't think I ever thought about until this time for
Okay.
whatever reason. And so I was going to ask you, there's one I had thought about, but I don't ever know the answer to. I know you pay attention a lot more to like the expanded universe stuff and
Right.
comics and stuff. But in the very beginning of the movie, so you've got the senators coming in on her ship, it explodes, whatever,
Yeah.
and then they go straight into the council.
Yep.
And she goes to meet Palpatine.
Yeah.
The first thing Padme says right away is, well, I think Count Dooku is to blame for this.
Yeah.
He's behind the attacks. Why does she blame him?
I
Is
don't.
that ever said anywhere?
No, but I mean, I've noticed it for the longest time. I've never been like, well, I wonder why.
Right.
I mean, and was it Mindy was like, he's a political idealist. He's not a murderer.
Yeah,
so he's like
already
the head
is
of
there.
the separatist. So it's like I'm assuming because he's, the separatists have been doing all this crazy stuff, and now Duke, because like,
She's against
well, in
the
episode 1,
vote.
yeah, right, the
Senate.
the Trade Federation wanted her to sign a treaty and was going to kill her in order to do it.
Right.
Get this whole thing done, blah blah blah. So now you have Dooku, who is supposedly the front man for the Separatist Trade
Separatist
Federation,
movement.
everything like that. She's like, okay, well, he's the only person that would do that because now Newt Gunray's underneath him and blah blah blah.
Right. Well,
So-
she didn't know that at this point.
Oh, that's
Nobody
true.
knows that Newt Gunray
That's true.
is siding with Dooku yet.
Right, that's true.
They just think Dooku is taking several planets, and it's just all happening in the Senate at that point.
Well, that's the only
So
reason
I guess
that would
he's
make
like a
sense as
political
why.
rival because
Yeah.
she's like for the Republic and he's not.
Yeah,
But I just felt like that was pretty wild that she's like immediate, and she's right.
she's not wrong.
And then Ki-Adi-Mundi immediately is a brat again, being the biggest villain in all of Star Wars.
Biggest villain.
Ki-Adi-Mundi.
Love him.
He tells her she's wrong. She's an idiot.
Yeah.
It's probably
Somebody
because
has
she's a
to,
woman.
Well,
And she should get back in the kitchen with the rest of his 4 wives. I'm pretty sure that's what he said. I remember him saying something like that, right?
I think he passed a note.
Oh, it was a note. That
They
said
were in
that.
a meeting. You don't want to say that out loud.
Well,
You know
he
what I
probably
mean?
would.
He
He's that
definitely
kind of
would.
guy.
He's a very smart man, little smart mouth.
Oh, smart man?
Smart
Oh, smart
mouth.
mouth. I thought you were siding with him. Get back in the kitchen,
No,
woman.
of course not. Of course not. I myself enjoy a good kitchen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you could.
But no,
That's funny.
that would be the only reason I would say is because he's now.
Just like a political rival. It felt funny because obviously it's a movie, so they're just doing that to move on. But I was like, wait a minute, like that's kind of a weird moment.
Yeah. So at the very beginning, when they land the ship down on the landing platform, and the senator ship blows up. So back 2 episodes ago when we were talking about Dorme and
Yeah.
everybody like that. completely lost
all
where I was
all
at
the
there.
different names.
No, I completely lost where I was going.
Dorme,
Dorme,
Corday.
Sache, Sabe,
Yeah.
Corday. So like here, we see Corday. She was the like the fake.
Right,
She was
the decoy.
being, Queen Amidala, Padme.
Right.
And Padme was flying the N1.
Yeah.
And so they all land. The explosion happens, so on and so forth. And well, here we are now. In Corday's on the ground. She's dying. Padme goes up to her and sees her, and she's like, "I failed you, Senator." And she's like, "No, literally did not fail one bit." Corday.
I know, right?
She did her job.
This is actually what you're supposed to do.
Right. I've
great.
always like every time I hear that, and she tells Padme, "I failed you." I'm like, you really did not.
No, this
like,
is why you were hired.
That was your job.
We wanted you.
Right. In case an assassination attempt happened, you need to be there to be in the place. And so I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I get it. Like, she felt like she should have done more. She should have been there longer. Blah,
she
blah,
could have
blah.
kept doing it. Whatever.
Right.
Man.
That would be the reason she failed. But I was like, literally, you succeeded 100% in your job right now. You know what I mean?
Padme's like, oh no,
you didn't.
No. Sweetie. No, actually, it's what I wanted.
Right, exactly. So I thought that was just because like 2 episodes ago we talked about all the like the aides, the senator aides and stuff,
or whatever they were, the decoys, yeah.
Yeah, and then here we are now back to this, and
I noticed too that after the explosion, Corday is sitting there, all burnt up and stuff from this fiery explosion, and she's not wearing any shoes. And I was like, did she come out of the ship with no shoes, or did they get blasted off of her?
Those things.
It's a pretty heavy explosion. She got sent flying.
I mean, it sent people everywhere. And, of course, we had the classic Star Wars scream of
one
of the guards
scream,
as he was flying off of the platform. So,
Yeah,
definitely blew her shoes off. There's no way. I mean, unless she came out barefoot, good for her, I guess. I don't know if that's like a thing. But, no, I guarantee those little slippers got knocked right off.
I thought that was so funny.
So,
oh, man. I also thought, too, like, just a little bit after that, so you see... we see Jar Jar again, and I know that he's a senator. He's helping her out as senator's aide or whatever.
Right.
But he looks exactly the same as when we just saw him in Phantom Menace.
Just fancier clothes.
It's been 10 years, but he looks identical, and it got me kind of thinking a little bit.
Okay.
How old the Gungans live?
I don't have an answer for that.
So Boss Nass is the only Gungan we've ever seen that looks different. And he's really fat, and maybe that's an indication of age, since he was a leader.
Age or wealth.
And I'm like, what if in the sequel trilogy Jar Jar still exists, but we don't recognize him because he's so big and fat, because he's so old by then, and Gungans could live hundreds of years, and they get fatter the older they get.
Where would you think he would be?
He'd probably
in your
be,
mind, where would Jar Jar be?
He'd be doing things.
Okay. Well, all right, I could see it.
I'm pretty sure he's on Exegol.
He's in the crowd.
Yeah, he's in the crowd.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah.
You can do it.
You saw all the Jedi. You saw all the Sith. Me saw no one. Me can't move. Me
I keep
fat.
thinking about that Lego, like, was it the Lego movie trailer or something?
Oh, yeah.
Where he was like,
the new one coming out.
gonna hurt you, sir.
It's gonna hurt you, sir.
Horrible time.
I love
Darth Jar Jar doesn't exist,
ideas.
but he's
my
right
God.
there. You know what I mean?
It.
No, but yeah, no, I have no idea how old they really get.
Right.
Because I mean,
Well,
I've never
Boss Nass
looked into it.
different.
I've never thought about being like, how old do Gungans go? Because there's times where I'll look up stuff because I'm just
Right.
curious. Like I'll see somebody, I'm like, wow, been around forever. Never once thought about that with Jar Jar.
Yeah,
Because after
nobody cares
episode
about
3, we
the
don't see him
Gungans.
anymore.
No one cares. Yeah.
You're not wrong. I mean, I don't mind the Gungans. I mean, we talked about this on the very first
Yeah.
episode we ever made, and it's like, I mean, I grew up with Jar Jar, so I liked him. I never hated him, but I've never once been like, I want to do research on the Gungans and
Yeah.
see what everything there is about them. You know what I mean? So that's kind of weird. Now I want to because I'm curious.
I think it's funny.
But yeah,
It's
the only
just
thing we
weird.
see difference is literally he's just dressed nicer. He's playing the role for a senator's aide or
Right.
whatever he is at the current time or in between, so on and so forth. So
I did spot a couple things like later in the show where Anakin gets his first mission and he's escorting Padme back to her
going back to
hometown
Naboo.
and stuff, but you see a little bit about how Naboo's changed just by paying attention to the background.
Yeah.
And there's like, the capital city and stuff like that. They go to visit the queen first, and there's Gungans not inside the council room where they are, but just outside, like on the steps.
Oh, yeah.
And they're in like official garb and
Yeah.
stuff. So like obviously in the 10 years, they're a lot
Well,
more.
the whole thing was when episode 1, when they did the Theed takeover,
Right.
or the retake of Theed. The Gungans and
They-
the people of Naboo all work together to coexist. Like
Yeah.
that was their whole thing. The ceremony was
Bring
for
them-
Boss Nass and the Gungans to side and just do a truce. Holy crap! I'll get there in a minute. But it was for them to be able to do that and to
Yeah.
combine each other, so they could coexist. Because
Right.
they didn't like each other. Well, the Naboo didn't
There
care.
were
They didn't
issues,
mind.
yeah, on
Right.
both
But
sides.
the Gungans were like, they think they're better than us, which
But it
we'll
was
show them,
Just cool to me to see, even after 10 years have gone by,
They're still
obviously
fine.
Padme's not even the one in command
Yeah.
anymore, and they're still okay with each other.
Yeah.
Like they're actually living what
Right.
is presumed in peace,
Right.
and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
I
thought that was
agree.
neat. It's cool. It's just a cool touch that you can get those sort of things just from the background. I know, like when there's the scenes later in the Jedi Temple, especially in the background, you always see stuff, which is one of the things I love about Star
Yeah.
Wars. But like you see like other Jedi Masters, like council members, just walking around in the background, and you're
yeah.
like, oh, that's Ayla Secura back there.
Yeah.
I recognize.
Right.
It has nothing to do with the scene, but if you're looking in the background, you see
Yeah,
extra
they're
stuff.
really good about putting that stuff in, like in episode 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
They're really great about putting people you've seen, or like at least the outline of the people like
Yeah.
away off in the distance.
Yeah.
And once again, that takes us back to the backgrounds and everything like that. One of the big things that I really like about Star Wars is they put detail into it.
Yeah.
Now granted, episode 1, 2, and 3, 20 years. You know what I mean? 24 years old,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, you can definitely tell you can tell the difference between the age of CGI and stuff,
Oh yeah.
but even then,
Some of it's not the best anymore.
right, but
that's
you
for
still
sure.
know exactly who they are, what they were trying to put back there and stuff
Yeah.
like that, so that's what I like. Like, it's still not bad to me. Some of it's kind of touchy, but once
Yeah.
again, that's going to happen with age,
Absolutely.
and so it's like, all right, I don't care, but I still like it, I still enjoy it. But seeing that kind of stuff in the back, it always makes me happy, and I could see it 1,000 times and I'll still be like, yeah.
Yeah.
But going back to the beginning, in the beginning of the movie, when Anakin and Obi-Wan are going up the elevator,
Oh yeah.
to go, and Anakin's all nervous and stuff, and Obi-Wan's like, you're sweating, relax, take a deep breath. Their conversation in the elevator while they're going up is like one of my top favorite like little conversations between them
Okay.
two, because what was it? He said,
I haven't seen you this nervous since you fell into
since
the...
you rescued me from that nest of Gundarks or whatever it was.
Right,
And he was
right,
like, you fell into the nest, master, and I rescued you, remember? And
Right,
everyone
right.
was like, oh, right. And he like does like that real soft chuckle.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that's like one of my top favorite interactions between them two, because it's just like the little silly joking, and
Mhm.
Obi-Wan being a little goof,
He's such a funny character in the show, because he's just, if you pay attention to all of the little quips from Obi-Wan,
Yeah.
he's so sarcastic, he's so stinking funny,
Right.
and like that's a really underrated thing of his. Like I guess everybody knows that, but
Right.
it's still kind of like, it's not the first thing you think of when you think
Right.
of Obi. At
Well, we
least for
had,
me.
when we played D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, it was like, that was one of the little things that I said to you when me and you were like companions in the campaign
Yeah,
that one
that's
day.
true. Yeah.
So I don't know. I just like it. I think it's funny. I enjoy it.
Yeah, they always had really good banter, and even in that, right away they showed that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so that was cool.
Yeah.
Did you did you notice anything in your like rewatch of, like, now that we are at a spot where all these different shows have come out, and obviously the Acolyte's the newest one, but we've had a lot of live action shows and stuff that have come out since I've watched again episode 2, I think.
Okay.
So for me, at least that I've thought about them since I watched these, and for me, one of the things that stands out as like something that's slightly different now because of something that happened in live action
Okay.
is pretty minor, but it made me chuckle. Is if you think about it, there's the scene where the assassin's like running away, where Zam is running away, and there's the speeder chase. There's all that stuff goes on, and she runs into the bar.
Okay.
And in that seedy underworld bar, there's cameos all over the place, right?
Well, yeah. So you had
You remember some of the people in the cameos?
I'm sorry about this. I can't remember the actor's name.
So we had Anthony
Right on.
Daniels,
Well,
right?
I know we had Anthony Daniels. You had Jar Jar's character, Ahmed Best.
Yep, you're right.
He was that was the name. I always have a hard time remembering it, but he was in there.
So that's actually who I wanted to talk about.
I think that was it, right? That was the only two cameos.
Yeah, and I think one of the directors is in there too.
Okay.
But
it's just George Lucas. We had no idea. He's in this. Apparently,
I meant producer, but yeah. No, but Ahmed Best is in there,
Yeah.
right? So he's not in costume. He's just his normal looking person. But now, if you fast forward to Mandalorian, we actually have Ahmed Best as his
a Jedi.
person. His name is Kelleran Beck. He's a Jedi Master, and that's what he looks like. So now, retroactively, is that guy that's in that seedy bar getting drunk? Is that Master Kelleran Beck?
I mean, he could have been like on leave.
He's just in the bar drinking this Jedi Master.
I mean, that's the thing is like because now we have all this expanded stuff, and so if that's him, then like either he's on leave doing his thing, just having a good time,
maybe
or he's undercover doing a mission, trying to get something like with the underworld, something like that. We've seen, especially in the Clone Wars, we saw Anakin, Ahsoka, Plo Koon, all been down to the underworld. Obi-Wan to do find certain things. Right, he was he turned into a bounty hunter. Remember?
Right, they even did facial reconstruction to make him do stuff. It's feasible, but it's really funny that now we've kind of what used to just be a little Easter egg, a little cameo. But now, because of stuff they did in Mando, as also kind of a little Easter egg, like a nod to Jar Jar's character, that now that kind of affects something in this much older movie. Yeah. I'm like, how funny is that? That's kind of interesting.
Well, it's the same thing as like Quinlan.
True, being in Phantom Menace.
We didn't know that was him in Phantom Menace until they came out with Quinlan, his Jedi character, within like I can't remember what came out first, book or in the movie or TV show, whatever.
Right.
But when they were like, so this is Quinlan, and then there's the same guy in Episode 1 with the yellow stripe around,
hiding in the back.
Right. So that is canon that is Quinlan's
boss
in the back.
Secret mission,
Right. And so it's like, so it could do the same thing, and that's kind of the cool thing about Star Wars too.
I know.
Is that like a lot of the stuff that they add in later, as long as it's not like something ridiculous,
it doesn't break it, but you can
like what we've had in
the
past, with
even Rex being the old guy
exactly.
Shield generator.
Like it makes sense. Like if it makes sense to me, like if it makes sense in the Star Wars universe for this person to be there, blah 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 blah. It's like that's cool. Like I don't mind that at all. It doesn't break canon.
Right.
It just makes it like, oh, that's a really good idea. You know what I mean? So I think that's cool. But
yeah, that's cool.
Did you know? So when they were filming Anakin chasing Zam, in the alley.
Okay.
While they were filming that, like on set, he was just running around in a big circle. Did you know that?
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah. So it wasn't like him running straight. It was literally just on the set. He was just running around. So the camera was in front of him, following him, but he was just doing a big circle, like a big lap around all this stuff.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So kind of cool.
Excuse me. You mean like after the ship crashed?
Yeah, when he was chasing her, trying to get to the bar.
Okay.
Like before she dipped into the bar.
Yeah.
He was just going in a big circle. So it's kind of cool.
I did write something down while I was watching the movie that made me laugh pretty hard. But it's basically about Zam and all that. But like it made me laugh really hard to think about it. But you've got the situation of Count Dooku. He needs Newt Gunray to join him, right? So you've got Newt Gunray wants to join the Separatists, and Newt Gunray is like, all right, I'll do it, but only if you kill Padme, because that's all he's obsessed with. The whole movie is just shoot her, And Dooku's like, all right, I'll agree to that. I'll kill Padme, and you can join us. And so they're like, great, that's their deal. But Dooku doesn't want to get his hands dirty. He's like, I'm not going to kill her. Yeah. So he hires Jango Fett, and he's like, you go kill Padme. But Jango Fett doesn't want to kill her. So Jango Fett hires Zam Wesell to kill her. But Zam Wesell doesn't want to kill her. So she sends a robot to go kill her. But the robot's like, I don't want to kill her. So the robot sends out these little worms.
What's really funny is I actually saw something about this a couple weeks ago.
It's so funny.
And so that's funny that you bring that up because I never thought about it that way until they had like a picture. So that was like Dooku, Jango, Zam, and then you had robot worms. And I was like, I've never once thought about being like, here you go. Here you go. Here you go. It's funny to me.
It is goofy. It's
I like
the silliest thing. In all honesty, though, like the real thing that's silly to me is Jango Fett in that whole situation, because he's the one who gave her the worms, because he's like, we got to try something more subtle.
Yeah, and hands her the canister.
Hands her the canister with the poisonous worms or whatever, or centipedes, whatever they are. And She's like, all right. So she goes away. He's obviously there that whole time.
Well,
He
yeah.
follows her later and kills her to prevent himself
Once
from
she
being
gets caught
revealed,
by Anakin
right?
and Obi-Wan.
Why would he have not just... The Jedi are now chasing her through the streets on speeders. That's the perfect time for him to have just gone and shot Padme.
I think the reason is because I don't know.
He just chose to follow Zam instead.
I mean, I feel like if he was going to try to shoot Padme and she was inside her chambers. I mean, if you have the blinds closed,
The
and you do
window's
all this
broken.
stuff,
The droid
oh, you're talking about after? Well,
while they were in the chase.
She has all the guard. The entire Senate guard is there.
Yeah, but no Jedi are there. Her Jedi protectors are now chasing him.
Unless the council had sent others, which we don't know. You know what I mean?
Up to her bedchamber right then?
It's kind of hard telling. I mean, but either way, if you have all the security, I'm sure they put her in a safe room. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
They're
Anakin said, stay here, and then left.
When has Padme ever stayed there?
Right,
never.
Yeah,
never.
Good point.
No, but I get you. You know, there are some things where you're like, man, but then you think, well, we didn't see what Padme did. More than likely, the guard came. All of her aides were in there. They picked her up and took her into a safe room or something.
Yeah.
You know, what would make sense. You know what I mean? As to what they would do and the situation of, well, she just had another assassination attempt done in 2 days. You know.
Yeah. I guess that's true. If somebody shoot at you through the window or something like that, you're not going to stay in there.
Right. Well, then, so after, so you have Obi-Wan and Anakin go into the bar, and they find Zam, and, Obi-Wan cuts her hand off, take him outside, and they're questioning. And, Obi-Wan's doing the questioning first, and then Anakin's like, he's doing it. He was like, who hired you? He's being real weird. Like, kind of, he's being subtle, like, very soft, trying to make her comfortable, I guess. And then he was like, tell us who hired you. And he just immediately gets mad and is like, tell us now, you know?
Yeah.
And it was like, ooh. And then she starts, Django shoots her, and so then she turns from her human, changed into a human form, and then she changes back into what the Changeler is supposed to look like.
Right.
Her alien self.
What a cool, species that we never see again.
Right? It was cool. She had, gills, it almost looked like gills on her cheek and stuff like that. I thought that was cool.
There's an old video game. I'm pretty sure it's the one that they're remaking.
The Bounty Hunter?
To come out. Yeah,
it comes out, I think, this month.
Yeah,
right?
it's
or
like
August,
a couple days. Yeah. But in that there's a mission where you play as Django and you go to wherever their planet is.
The Changelers?
Yeah, because it's the only other time I've ever seen them, and I don't know if it's canon or not, but they were called Clawdites in that game.
Okay.
And that's the name of the changeling race.
Okay.
And there's a whole race of them on that planet. So on that planet, they all look like themselves because there's nothing to change into.
Right.
But if they leave, then they can be really good spies and stuff like that. And I've always wondered, later on, we get Bothans that are spies and all these other creatures. I'm like, I wonder if they were changeling. Whatever happened to them?
I wonder if they were a race that you couldn't trust. That's why we didn't see them. We saw the bad guy hire them. I wonder if that was kind of the thing. That's why we didn't see them a lot from the Rebel Alliance or the Republic even.
Yeah.
Get them is because
maybe
even
the Empire would want to use these as spies or anybody.
Unless they waxed them. You know what I mean?
Maybe they did. We don't know. But I always thought it was cool. And that game is the only thing I've ever seen them in.
Yeah.
So I we know nothing outside of Sam.
I haven't played that game in so long.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a kid, bro.
I know.
I can't wait for it to come out too. By the way, I'm gonna play the crap out of it as soon as it releases. I'm getting it. But no, so she changes back into her alien form.
Right.
And so then, Obi-Wan pulls the saber dart. We learn from her neck, and he's like, "Oh, toxic dart," And they look up, and you see Django jetpack out, And so he goes later to his informant. Oh boy,
your favorite guy
good
ever.
Old Dex, baby.
You want a cup of Java juice?
Obi-Wan. I love that guy. I don't know why. I mean, he's just I don't know. It's funny. He goes up and he hugs Obi-Wan, and they're all happy. And one of his arms reaches down and pulls up his pants because his butt crack's hanging out and stuff.
Yeah.
Goes to sit down. He's like, oh. The casual old overweight guy,
Where's our spin-off show where he's doing whatever he was doing adventuring
beforehand?
Yeah,
right. Because that's one thing that we've talked about for I don't know how long. He knew about Camino. And he knew that was a Camino saber dart.
And he says in the movie, the quote is, "I haven't seen that since I was prospecting out on such and such."
Yeah.
So he used to prospect. So I guess he surveyed planets for minerals or was literally a miner of some sort. but I'm like, at least that's part of what he did.
Right.
But like, he knows so much. It's so weird.
But
It's just a guy running a diner.
A dude running a diner knows this little toxic dart, knows exactly what it is.
Oh, I love it.
And it's like, we had no idea what what his prior, besides doing the mining or whatever it was.
Whatever that entails.
So I thought that was cool. But him and Obi-Wan's whole thing, like, how did Obi-Wan come about him? How did he meet him? How did he become Obi-Wan's informant, of these random things? That's something I want to know. I'm sure there's probably books or something out there, where they have, something Obi-Wan going and meeting him prior or something like that. I don't know.
With so much stuff that the Clone Wars show dived into, it's kind of funny that that's a character that we never saw.
Yeah.
Like, we just didn't see him come back up again. We never got to see Obi-Wan meet him and stuff like that.
I wonder what happened,
like
if he passed, like, before the Empire took reign. Or
what happened to him
when the Empire
afterwards?
took over, if he didn't side with them.
Stayed on Coruscant as a neutral diner owner.
Either that, or he didn't like them and he went off and did his own thing afterwards. He left planet, whatever. There's characters that I like. I mean, like I said, I like Dex. I think he's great. He's funny. I like him and Obi-Wan's relationship. He's like that just a normal old restaurant owner. I mean, it makes you wonder, like, what truly happened, like where he went, what happened, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. I know. I was going to ask you. So you were just talking about the Plagueis book not too long ago, and obviously, some of that could change, and quite likely is changing a bit because of things that have happened in Acolyte in terms of time frame.
Right.
But as we know it right now with Plagueis, he was there all the way up until Phantom Menace, essentially, right? Because
that was the thing, is that Plagueis was with Palpatine up to the night of his election in episode 1.
Okay. Which is 10 years prior to this movie.
Yeah.
And they say in this movie that Sifo-Dyas placed the order for the clones more than 10 years ago, but that's suspicious because he died before that. So obviously there's the whole thing with Palpatine and all that. My question is, because of that time frame, it slightly overlaps. Was the whole idea of the clones and Order 66 Plagueis' idea, and Palpatine stole it? Or was it Palpatine's baby?
Well, the whole thing is that, in the way I see it, in the way that I believe it, is that Plagueis and Palpatine had the same plan. They wanted to take over the world, or take over the galaxy. They wanted to destroy the Jedi from the inside.
And Palpatine took advantage of it and said, you know what?
Well, Plagueis was no
more. This plan
more.
could just as easily be mine if I get rid of Plagueis.
Well, I think if it was 10 years, over 10 years ago is when Sifo-Dyas put in the order for a clone army, it would have been when Plagueis and Palpatine would have been together still.
Right.
And then Palpatine kills off Plagueis. You don't have to worry about whose idea it was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You're the new guy.
He was like, this is a good idea, Master. Yeah. Let's do it. Right. Whoops.
Right.
You died in your sleep.
Right. Uh-oh. Weird. You didn't wake up.
I'll do it.
I'll take over. Don't worry.
Oh, no. I'm the leader of everything.
Right. But, so, yeah.
That's pretty wild, though. I guess he probably took, like, Plagueis was sort of a mastermind for all these, maybe hundreds of years. We don't exactly know how long yet. And set all this stuff up, and instead of him getting to do it, Palpatine came in.
I mean, it's just the way it goes.
It makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. So
I thought that was pretty cool to maybe have that, like, more definitive potentially. But if they now change the idea of Plagueis because he's alive a little further back than we were thinking to be alive in Acolyte, maybe he also died further back, in which case he's not around during the time when Palpatine was elected.
The whole thing,
we don't know
is, I mean, legends anyway.
I know.
So
that stuff could change.
Exactly. Okay, so with Obi-Wan doing his thing, trying to track down, talking to Dex and doing all this stuff, goes up to the temple, goes into Master Yoda, who was training the younglings at the time, and pulls up the map because he can't find Kamino.
Yeah.
Goes into the archives. There's no record of the planet.
Right.
Lady was kind of snappy. She was like,
Costa knew.
Yeah, she was like, what did she say?
If a planet does not appear in our records, it does not exist.
It simply does not exist. Yeah, right. She's kind of snappy about it. But
she's probably no. It's not. Can't. Nobody said. I think she's one of Ki-Adi-Mundi's 4 wives. She's got the same energy.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Huh. Jocasta Nu Mundi.
Jocasta Nu Mundi.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right.
That's not it.
That's not
That's
it.
definitely not it.
So so he goes into Yoda, and all the younglings are there. So he puts his little holo map in the center of the stand.
Right.
And Yoda's picking on him in front of the younglings. He's like, "Lost a planet you have," and all the kids are laughing. But then they're asking the younglings for advice. So in the meantime of all this happening, you have Anakin escorting Padme back to Naboo as her private security at this point.
Sure, yeah.
So you have Anakin, who has been in love with Padme since he was a boy, going on a far
solo mission
with the girl that he's in love with. And when they departed, you had Obi-Wan, Captain Typho, and I don't know who the aide was that was with him. Was it Dorme?
Which one died? Corday died? It was Dorme.
So, they're leaving, and he was like, I
do hope he doesn't try anything foolish.
Right, and then Typho was like, I'd be more worried about her doing something than him. Right. That was funny to me.
Yeah, that's really funny.
But, so it's like, Obi-Wan knew how Anakin had already felt, because they've already talked about it. He was nervous about seeing her when the show first opened, blah, blah, blah. So they send them off, right? So now you have these two doing their thing, going off to Naboo, where things start getting a little spicy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So...
where she's like, I don't want any of this, but she's also wearing like the most enticing clothes she could possibly find in her closet.
Before that, they're standing at the lake, and that's where we get the sand talk. I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough, and it gets everywhere. Where I'm trying to go is, if you were Obi-Wan, right?
Yeah.
And you knew Anakin.
Oh yeah.
Was big on Padme.
Oh yeah.
And you don't know if at the time, Padme, she was nice to Anakin.
Right.
But like, would you, if you were Obi-Wan, would you send Anakin on this mission? Like, if it was you to make a call and you knew everything you already knew?
Well,
supposedly knew.
So, I guess there's two answers. No, he wouldn't.
Exactly.
But also, he didn't want to. He wasn't the one who sent him.
Yeah.
That was the council's decision to send him. And it's kind of interesting because, supposedly nobody knew about their relationship, all this stuff. It was kept secret.
Right.
And then it was like, well, Obi-Wan knew. And he was the only one.
Obi-Wan knew the whole time. Except for the fact that Anakin was the father. He wasn't 100% sure on that until Episode 3 came.
One of the really interesting things is in this movie, there's a deleted scene where Obi-Wan is talking to Mace Windu. And it's right before Obi-Wan goes to Geonosis. And so they're like walking out in the temple, and they're walking to the ship.
Okay.
And he's telling Mace that they you reused most of it and put it in a different spot in the movie. Basically, that's why it's a deleted scene. But part of the stuff they don't reuse is him telling Mace that he is worried about sending Anakin on this mission alone. He's not ready yet. He's too arrogant, and he has too much of an emotional connection with Padme. And Mace is like, what do you mean? And he's like, he's had an emotional bond with her since he was a boy. And Mace is like, well, we're going to have to learn to just trust him because he's the chosen one, right? And I'm like, that's so weird, because Mace is the one who seemed like he wasn't all in on the chosen one business. And here's Obi-Wan telling someone else, basically, he's got feelings for her. And they did smart by deleting that.
Right.
But
I do feel like
it's an interesting piece.
Mace has gone along with the whole chosen one thing. He hasn't been a strong believer in it, and he wasn't a strong believer that it was Anakin.
Right.
But I think, you have the entire council and the Jedi.
He's the first one that brought it up.
Right.
Basically.
Right.
Yeah.
But you have the entire Jedi Council, the Jedi Corps is built off of this hope of that there is a chosen one. And, or, prophecy. But, it's just a hope that there is this, and this will happen. He will bring balance. So even if he doesn't strongly believe that, or if that it's Anakin, he still has to have somewhat of a belief.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. One, to keep all the the council going, basically, to keep the Jedi going. And as well as hope for him, that hopefully this will be eventually it'll just stop. It'll stop the whole dark side, good side, so on and so forth. But but so Anakin and her on Naboo, things get spicy. And so they're on the lakeside, and they're talking, and she's wearing her little dress thing, and like her shoulders and her back's open, and he's like taking his finger and like slowly caressing it, and they kiss, and she's like, no, I can't do this.
I shouldn't have done that.
And
I shouldn't have done that.
He's like, oh, I'm sorry.
He's so confused.
Yeah, it's like
that's kind of how you'd be in that
right?
situation,
yeah, right?
Because you're like, well, I don't know.
Right.
She
so,
seemed like she wanted
she
to
kissed
be here
him,
alone on the balcony,
whatever. It's so weird.
And...
Real pretty out here, nice view. Oh, you just wanted to be friends. My bad. you know. But so we have that, and
True.
then we go to the evening where they're eating
She's wearing real spicy stuff.
the dinner.
Oh, the dinner too, yeah.
He's cutting up the pear and uses the force and pushes the pear to her, and Master Obi would be very grumpy if he saw this.
It's funny that that's exactly how I would be using the force all the time, though.
Yeah, but for myself.
All the time. Yeah, I would just be getting Mountain Dew from the fridge, but I wouldn't get up.
No, why would you? Why would you? If you could do that, get out of here.
Like he even
I want some
like
jerky
he
out of the
took that
cat.
like pear fruit thing from her plate, put it on his, cut it, and then used the force to give it back to her.
Yeah.
I would have just still sat there with my arms crossed, used the force to lift a knife and cut the.
Yeah,
Like,
I wouldn't have even done anything. I would have just been chilling.
you could have done it all.
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. But
yeah,
now
that's
we
pretty
go to the nighttime where
Oh yeah.
they're in the room and she's wearing that super tight black shirt thing. She's like, I have to tell Anakin that we can't be. Let me put on my best.
My most seductive outfit.
She comes in and it's just like the latex squeak. It's like
It's gotta be so hard to move
she
in
sits
that
down. So her big idea is to tell Anakin that this can't happen.
Right.
And she's wearing this wonderful shirt.
She knew what she was doing.
She knew exactly what she's doing.
She's so-
Anakin, we can't be together.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. And he's like, you're really confusing, lady.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're not wrong.
that's what a hard time to be Anakin Skywalker at this point. You don't know. You really like this girl. You're digging on her, and she's might be digging on you. You're not sure, but she doesn't want to kiss you, and then she comes out with that, and it's like,
So many mixed signals.
where am I?
I kept thinking the best thing to happen to Anakin was probably that they got captured on Geonosis, because that's what made her say, well, we're going to die anyway, so I guess I'll tell you I love you. And
The
he's
whole
like,
time
oh,
he knew they were
really?
getting out of there.
Right. Yeah. He's like, I got this. He could have got out. He had a plan already
Right.
to leave that room.
Right.
All they had were the tiniest little handcuffs on.
I know.
And they basically, he can use the Force. He was just willingly letting them take him to the podium.
What else would you do?
Jump out right there where there's one guard.
You got a babe beside you. You know what I mean? Take advantage of the time.
Yeah.
It's dark.
Let her, she was
Caged up.
teary-eyed,
Teary-eyed.
confessing her love.
That's true.
I mean,
I truly, deeply love you.
yeah.
You see?
he was like, oh, I thought it would destroy us.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to be destroyed anyway. He's like,
Oh yeah, you're right. We definitely are.
Sure
Dave.
we are. Kissy, kissy.
So going after that, you got Obi-Wan, who goes to Kamino and sees the clone army that is being prepared. I like that scene a lot too.
Yeah. Well, that was before that, but yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Before that, you're right.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's down there doing his thing. And sees the clone army. They're all training, whatever. Right. You see him when they're young, doing like the computer thing, whatever. Then you see him in the mess hall. Then you see him grab their armor.
Yeah.
Super cool.
It is really neat.
Then we see
they tell us a little bit about growth acceleration there. Yeah. They say that it takes half the time to get them to grow to peak health, which if we're going to guess, their peak health is like 20.
Probably.
That makes sense time frame wise, about the 10 years. That's why they had 200,000 clones already ready, with 1 million more well on the way.
Yeah.
Is the quote. So, yeah, I guess timing makes sense. Yeah. So they brought about 200,000 clones in that first battalion, presumably to Geonosis in that first battle, to save them.
And on the first clone to die, by the way, jumping a time here, going almost to the end, was when they landed to pick up the Jedi, and all the clones and the Jedi were getting on the gunships in the arena. There was one clone that was like backing up as he was shooting. And he dies.
Yeah,
first clone to go
right away.
I mean, it was like just a pick up and go mission, and he just dies. That was the first one to die on the battlefield.
I did think it was pretty funny that, I don't know why, but I guess I just never really realized. Mace says, all right, well, now we've done all the legal stuff because we gave the Chancellor emergency powers, and Mace and Yoda are at the Senate building, and Mace is like, I'm going to take what Jedi there are left, and I'm going to go rescue Obi-Wan. He doesn't know Anakin's there yet at this point, but he says, I'm going to go rescue Obi-Wan.
Right.
And Yoda says, all right, well, I'll go figure out what's going on with these clones and go see them. So Yoda goes to get the clones and then rendezvous at Geonosis to save the day.
Yeah.
But Mace takes all of the several council members, like tons of Jedi. There's like 40 of them.
200.
200? There's lots of them.
200 Jedi, and I think it was...
At this...
Was it 200? I want to say it was 200 Jedi and 60-some left.
After the battle?
Yes.
Damn. Well, the point I was making that I think is weird that I just never thought of...
Or maybe it was 20-something left.
Up to that point, what's the only way we've seen a Jedi travel from one planet to another planet?
What do you mean? Before that?
There's no Republic army.
Right.
So if this Jedi is going to Geonosis, are they all taking 200 of their own individual Jedi starfighters and parking them on Geonosis? Did they take a civilian freighter? They didn't have an army.
Well,
what ships did they take that dropped off a bunch of Jedi?
Well, they still had like the Republic like cruisers and stuff.
I guess, like, you know, I suppose they would have taken like something like what they had in Phantom Menace that blew up right away.
Yeah, I mean, like something like that, or just a bigger ship. Like, I don't think that they would have had to worry about having like a Republic, like a clone, like a Venator class, something like that.
Well, they didn't have one yet.
I know, but
so
they
like,
wouldn't have had to worry about it though. But they still had the Senate Guard.
Something
and stuff
to
like
take 200 stinking Jedi and drop them off.
Or it could have been 3. I mean, you know what I mean? It's hard to tell. I don't know how they got there. But like, you're right. Like, we've never seen them go anywhere except for in like the small.
Where'd they park?
Right.
Because they just show up in the arena on foot.
What the funny thing is they parked on the other side of the planet, so nobody would know that they were there, and they ran the whole way. Took them 4 days to get there. You know.
I like the I'm sure wrong thought of like Mace and his fighter, of all the different Plo Koon and his fighter, Kiadi, every single one of them in their own little
200 starfighters.
They're all landing in the smoke vents,
right.
So people don't.
You got 4 per vent. It's real tight in there, but hey, you know, you do what you got to do. So, going backwards now in time to the emotional impact, where we first see Anakin.
The first descent to the dark side.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he's on Tatooine trying to find his mother, because he's been having visions while him and Padme were forever, but which they talk about when they were on Coruscant when they first got there. He was like, you're having nightmares again, and he was like, I keep thinking, dreaming about her.
Right.
So while Anakin and Padme are on Naboo, Anakin really wanted to go to Tatooine because he wanted to figure out what was wrong with his mom.
Yeah.
And so they go to Tatooine. He goes to find her. Watto sold his mother to Lars,
right?
Who Lars married, and so Anakin goes to Lars, and then he finds out that his mother was kidnapped by Tuskens on just picking mushrooms, I think.
Yeah,
you remember?
Out of the mushroom background, yeah.
So Anakin goes on this hunt to find the Tuskens who stole his mother. We see him talking to Jawas. Jawas are pointing him to the closest Tusken camp, so on and so forth. He goes there, up on the cliff, jumps down. It's like the overview of the camp. Jumps down, goes in, finds his mom tied to like a rack.
Right.
She's almost dead. She's weak. He cuts her down, or unties her, and is holding her. And she was excited. She was happy to see her son. It was like the one thing she wanted to see probably before she passed. She was like, my son, my grown-up son. And I don't like tear up to movies, but like Star Wars, I guess it's because it's my life.
You care a lot about it.
I care a lot. So like when this scene happens and he's holding her, and she's like, my grown-up son, and she's trying to tell him that she loves him, and she can't get it out. She just keeps going, I love, and she doesn't say you, and her head falls back, and so Anakin gets teary-eyed and tear comes down, but then immediate anger. And he walks out and he slaughters an entire village, women, children, the warriors, whatever, and slaughtered them all. And then he goes back, carries his mother. Mm-hmm. He's in the bottom part of Lars's
homestead,
trying to fix stuff. Padme comes down. He has that very emotional conversation with her, about, I killed them all, every single one of them. And as soon as he starts talking and he says, I killed them, once again, I tear up. I got a tear coming out of my eye, running down my cheek during this whole thing, because it's like watching him, like, Hayden Christensen did a really good job when it come to the emotional part of playing Anakin.
Sure.
I think he did great. So you have him doing really well on top of me loving this saga.
Yeah, it's super believable to you, and
it is, like it hurts because like that this is where Anakin's going down, because we know who Anakin is. He's Darth Vader. So we're watching him slowly progress downwards. So so we have all that happening, and it's like Like it's crazy because like you see truly how unstable he is. Like we already know he was emotionally unstable for Padme. He had this big crush, big thing for Padme, and then watching him because he couldn't let go of his mother, which they knew was going to happen because he was too old. He wasn't, it's hard to for he was 9 when he got brought into the council or into the Jedi.
Right.
So he already had 9 years with his mother, and they've been through so much already.
Of course.
So you have that. So we're watching him the first step down the dark path.
Yeah, but it also made him relatable because it's more human.
It is.
That's like how we would feel if that happened to us. So like, it's a lot more of like, oh yeah, I'm understanding of what's going on here, but also like it's such a dangerous thing to have that kind of power that's unchecked, and to be like, well, now you're exercising that, you're taking all these lives, like, oh gosh, yeah, you're starting to get into that descent. Yeah.
One more thing, and then we'll move on to a little bit later, whatever we got to do. When he was slaughtering the Tuscans, and Yoda sensed it, and Mace walked into the room and was like, "What's the matter?" And he was like, Anakin Skywalker or young Skywalker's in pain, terrible pain. Well, while he was sitting there, and he was like sensing all this anger coming from Anakin, and you heard people like yelling in the background, and you could hear Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
His voice, Anakin. That was cool. Like it always, I don't know why, it's like shiver, like it puts like goosebumps, on you. I don't know why, but it's weird. But then you have one voice that yells no, and I don't know who that is. And that was kind of a big thing that I've always curious about.
If I'm remembering the same spot that you're talking about, it's actually the moment that happens at the end of the movie, because it's Anakin, it's Obi-Wan, and he says, "No, Anakin, no." It's because it's when he goes to charge after Dooku. And he says, "We'll take him together." And he says, "Oh no, I'm taking him now."
Yeah.
And he goes, "No, no, Anakin, no." And then he goes charging off, and he gets electrocuted. That's that. He's hearing that before that happens.
Oh really? I thought it was always. I thought it was said it was always Qui-Gon.
No,
saying Anakin, so. Anakin.
I think he does in the beginning, maybe.
Okay.
In the first part of that, because I think there's like 3 little voice clips in there.
Okay.
If
so I know, like, because I remember Qui-Gon, you hear him say Anakin.
Yeah,
and you can tell it's
very
Qui-Gon.
first thing.
But then there's like a
happens.
really elongated, like no noise at the end. I don't know, but anyway, but I always hearing Qui-Gon saying that, through the Force or whatever is really crazy, because then you see Qui-Gon teaching Yoda how to get to the spirit world and all this stuff. So that's cool.
It's a really cool little tie-in. Yeah, I definitely like this movie obviously quite a lot.
I do too.
I think it's amazing to see it in its spot for where it's at, and it has like the right amount of everything's getting started, but you're starting to fully see like an actual descent.
Yeah.
Whereas like Episode 1 is great, but it's not you're not starting to see the tragedy quite yet. You're getting the origins, but you're not seeing the tragedy of Anakin. The tragedy starts here. Yeah. And so that's where the actual Skywalker saga starts to get wild. So,
real quick, there's so much to talk about, and we have so little time, so it's hard to fit everything in. Going to the arena fight, and you always, we at the beginning you were talking about, seeing things that you've watched it 50 times, it doesn't matter. You still see some things that are like you notice or whatever. In the arena fight, when all the Jedi were on the ground, they were all fighting around. In the back of the arena, you see Jedi fighting, Geonosians and battle droids. There was one Jedi that was dual wielding.
I don't know if I've ever seen that.
It's way off in the back.
Okay.
And so all you see is 2 lightsabers in one Jedi's hand. He's like spinning around and like cutting droids down. And I noticed that not even a year ago, I had watched it, and I'm sitting there and I'm like watching. I'm like, I love this.
Wait a minute.
Who's that guy? I don't know if I've seen like recently, like I don't know what the big deal is recently about like people like noticing things in like the movies again.
Right.
But like 2 weeks ago, a month ago, something like that, there was a guy that was like, has anybody else ever noticed this? And like zoomed in on it. It was like, is there a backstory? Apparently there's not a backstory on this guy. But when I saw it, I was like, what? Where did you come from?
That's pretty
I thought
crazy.
that was cool, seeing that guy in the back. But
I like that. That's one of the things that I think the Star Wars has always done really well.
Yeah.
But I guess that's mostly because of George Lucas. But the scenes are pretty packed with info, and so you do get interesting stuff on rewatches.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. Whether it just be characters or things you hadn't quite noticed before, it's a pretty wide world. So the more that you pay attention, the more you see those sort of things, and it's phenomenal. I think that's one of the things it does really, really well.
But all over, episode 2 is a great movie. The ending was great. Watching Yoda fight Dooku, Anakin and Obi-Wan not being in sync with their attack yet.
Right.
Anakin gets cut up. Obi-Wan gets cut up. They're laying on the ground. Yoda comes in and messes stuff up. You know what I mean? Watching him in that theater when I was a kid, I remember everybody laughing when he like stuck his hand up and was like, you know, and like got in like a fighting stance with his hands.
Okay.
You know? And so you always saw his like 3 little fingers. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
My
My theater cheered when he revealed the lightsaber.
Did he?
When he
Did
did
they?
like the Clint Eastwood style,
Yeah.
like with he pulled back the robe to expose the
Yeah.
lightsaber, and then my theater cheered.
Yeah. That was cool. Yeah. I remember I was a kid, but I still remember that everybody laughed when he did the whole finger, like the hand gesture thing. But it was a great movie. I mean,
Yeah.
it was the biggest part of the entire series, or
Yeah,
the
for
entire
sure.
saga, besides the falling of episode 3. But it was
Yeah, it's a beginning of everything, so it's a crazy moment. But
so much to talk about, too, which is hard.
I know. I'm sure that well, we've gone kind of way over what we normally expect to do, so we'll probably have to stop it here. But
Yep.
you know, there's going to be a lot of stuff we'll be able to pull from this still and
Yep.
talk about it later at different times.
For
I
sure.
know some of my favorite things are a lot of the making of and that sort of stuff.
Oh, yeah, we're definitely going to go over a bunch of that
so,
stuff, talk
we can
about
talk
that.
about that stuff at
Yeah.
different times. But yeah, I think it's probably a pretty decent spot for us to take a little break, and
Okay.
then we can come back with a game and
Cool beans.
close out the show.
Sweet.
All right, thanks. All right, welcome back in to the next part here of our podcast. This is going to be a nice game that we're doing, presided over by our Force Ghost on the Coast. So we'll turn it over to you, Miss Savvy, and you can kind of tell us about the game and what's going on.
It's me, your 1942 game host.
That's
Oh,
right.
apparently.
That's right.
Oh,
Heck yeah.
So we are playing a legally distinct version of Family Feud.
oh,
We're still workshopping names. I'm kind of thinking maybe Skywalker, Squabble. I don't know.
Oh,
Let
that's
us know
not
in the
bad.
comments what you think.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So we're playing a very simplified version of Family Feud. We will have a board with 6 possible answers. And you guys are going to roll your chance cube for the first person to give an answer that you think is on the board.
Okay.
The higher you get, based on like the number of answers out of 100, will give you more points. So you'll give one answer, and then we'll swap to the next person to give the next answer. I think for each board, we'll let you roll a new chance cube, just because that first person who gives an answer does have an advantage for sure. So
okay. So we're not going to buzz in for time on one specific
no,
question?
we're just gonna go one and the other.
Okay.
See how many of these you can get.
All right.
All right. So for our first board, we have name a famous Star Wars quote. So go ahead and one or the other of you roll a chance cube.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you do.
I got it. I
All
got
right.
it right there, buddy.
Roll one chance cube, though, please.
Fine. I want red.
Okay. And it is blue again. Look
Right.
at that.
My other cube is red.
Try it. Roll that one. I'm just curious. Roll it. What is that?
I can't see it. What is it?
Oh, that one's red.
Yeah, of course. Well, great. You got all my red ones out that don't count.
Maybe the next board you'll do better.
Yeah, there we go.
All
So
right.
it's up to you.
So I'm
name
naming a famous Star Wars quote.
Yes.
So I'm gonna do one of my all-time favorites, which I have hanging above the desk at work.
Oh,
It is "Do or do not. There is no try."
Ta-da! That is on the board. So that is the third answer out of 6. So
All
I
right.
am going to give you 4 points. I know this is a little bit confusing, but the top point is 6 points. The next one is 5. The third one is 4 points. So
okay.
4 points for Jordan. Excellent job. Sean, go ahead.
I'm going to say I've got a bad feeling about this.
Very
Ding,
good.
ding, ding.
Last one.
Good job, dude. That's still on the board.
So 2 points for Sean. Yeah, second to last one. All right, Jordan.
I'm gonna go with I am your father. Luke, I am your
Ooh,
father.
good one. That's the second most common answer. So that'll be another 5 points for you.
My next one is May the Force be with you.
Ah, yes. That is the most famous Star Wars quote. So
Ah, very good, my friend.
that is 6 points for Sean.
All right.
Okay.
Excellent job.
Just thinking.
I don't even know what to put in the
This
next
is where
spot.
the fun begins.
Nope.
Dang. Maybe that's just one of my favorite.
I want to. I think I guess it depends on the survey or what. I want to just say hello there.
Oh, unfortunately, no. That one's
I
not
figured
on
it
the list
wouldn't be on
either.
there, but I love it.
So I'll give you guys one more round. We'll
Okay.
let you guys
Like
each.
one more thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
One more try.
I want to do the. I made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs.
Oh, that's a good one. But nope, that's not on here.
I'm trying to think of what might be popular.
Well, I figured that one would be. And then
I feel like
this
this-
is where the fun begins. I felt like would be.
I'm gonna say maybe it's Do It.
Do it. That's a good one as well. But no, that's not on our list.
Dang.
So in fourth place, we have Help Me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
That makes sense.
All right.
And then in last place, we've got That's Not How the Force Works. Only a couple answers, a couple respondents had that as their quote, but still on the top 6. So
Okay.
good job, good job. All right, so our next slide here is Name a Bounty Hunter from Star Wars. So go ahead and roll your dice again to see who does the first one on here.
Red. Oh my! I just punched the thing. It's your blue, by the way.
Yay.
So Big
Okay.
Sean's got it.
I just gotta
Yay,
make
good job,
you
Sean.
Pick my color. It knows that you always pick blue. That's why.
That's true. I've been picking blue a lot lately.
Yeah. Name a bounty hunter. Boba Fett.
Ding, ding, ding.
job.
That is the top answer. So good job on that.
Now my turn.
Mm-hmm.
Jango Fett.
No, unfortunately, Jango Fett is not on here.
Haha. Haha.
How does that work? He's like the second biggest bounty, or the first biggest bounty hunter theoretically.
No.
Boba wouldn't be there for one for Jango.
Yeah. Boba's way more famous though
Mm-hmm.
in the world, in the universe.
Jango was the template for a clone army.
No one knows that.
Apparently.
In universe, I don't think many people knew that. Name a bounty hunter from Star Wars. We've got Boba Fett. We guessed Jango. Jango was no go on this board of top 6. I'm gonna say Bosk.
Oh, Bosk is on the bottom of the list, but he is on here, so that is 1 point for that.
I'm thinking original trilogy things are probably gonna be more popular. But
Yeah, and I'm blanking on bounty hunter names now.
we had a whole draft of.
I know, and I can't even remember.
12 of
I
them.
can't even remember the lady.
Oh, your lady that you
Yeah.
like? Which one? The bald one?
Yeah, my brain's gone.
You know, you like her a lot.
I do.
You want to say Aura Singh?
Yeah. Let's do Orsing.
Orsing. All right, she's second from the bottom, so she is on here.
I think it's because the whole Jango Fett thing just really got to me.
It threw you off your game. Good
I
job.
want to pick. I think Cad Bane's pretty popular. I'm gonna pick Cad Bane.
Oh, good job. He's in third place. So that's 4 points for you.
Embo.
Embo, no,
My
unfortunately,
favorite.
he is not
They're
on
like
here.
my favorites, but
I'm gonna pick the Mandalorian, Din Djarin.
I don't even know what I'm
Yes,
thinking
that
about
is in second place. So good job on that. That's another 5 points for Sean. Got one more answer on the board. So it's Jordan's go, and if he doesn't get
Toilet
it,
paper
I'll-
man.
He's saying Dengar.
Dengar.
No.
See, I'm wondering if it's like more recent stuff because like Din Djarin's on there. So do I go with like Ming Na Wen's character or
Fennec.
yeah, either that or
Oh, you
I think
know
the next
what?
one I was gonna choose is IG-88. I'm gonna say IG-88.
Oh man, Sean's on fire. That is the right answer.
Cool.
So that is another 3 points. So good job, gentlemen. All right, moving on to our next.
Whoever didn't put Jango Fett as an answer.
Yeah, I can't.
gonna
You
get
have to
drowned in a
blame our respondents, not me, because I definitely didn't make this up on my own with
Well,
the
hey,
help of AI.
easy.
All right, so we have our next one is name a Star Wars character who is a pilot. So roll your dice.
Red. Oh, see. You're doing
You
good,
wanted
dude.
right, so I go again.
Yes.
Uh,
This might be your game, buddy.
I mean Han Solo.
No. Probably should have been on here now that I think about it, but no.
Poe Dameron.
Yes. Poe Dameron is in second place. So that's a
See,
5
now
points
you
for
feel
you.
how I feel
Yeah, I'm
about
pretty
Jango
upset
Fett.
about it now.
Yeah.
Can't even explain how mad I am. I'm gonna go with
That's-
Luke.
Yes, Luke is number 1. So 6 points. Good job.
Wedge.
Wedge is on the bottom here, but he's on the board.
The most famous pilot.
Another one.
Lando.
Nope.
See, now I'm just
Well, I mean, there's the most obvious one of all time.
pilot.
Yeah.
Anakin.
No, he's
Anakin
not. Oh
slash
no,
Darth
yeah, he
Vader's
is on
not
here
on there.
actually. Just kidding. So who said Anakin? Is it?
He did.
Okay. So
just
yes, then
won-
Jordan will get
Han went on there, no.
3 points.
I know. Yeah, Chewie's on here, but Han's not. I'm gonna lose it.
Try it.
I'm not gonna do it. Name a character who is a pilot.
Mm-hmm.
Luke, Poe, Anakin, Wedge. I mean, if we're being like real dumb about these,
If you're gonna say who I'm thinking, it's gonna be crazy.
I'm just gonna say Obi-Wan. I don't
Okay.
think he
Nope. Sorry, he's not on here.
good.
Porkins.
Jack Porkins.
Nope, he's not on
See,
here.
that's another
either.
big famous boy. Just
I mean,
because
he
he blows
kinda
up.
I guess Biggs.
There you go.
Nope.
I'm gonna go Clone Wars and just say oddball.
Oddball?
Yeah.
A clone?
He's a clone pilot.
Nope.
I'm gonna say
Add him as an action figure too.
Jango Fett.
Nope, he's not on here.
All right, is this the last one we're going through? I guess.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Chewbacca.
Nope.
Boba Fett.
No.
Where?
So in 3rd place we have Harrison Dula,
Yeah, okay.
and then in 5th place we've got Plo Koon.
Yeah, I mean, all right. They make sense.
Again, blame the respondents. I had nothing
Whoa,
to do with
whoa,
this. So good job, gentlemen. All right. Now we have name a Star Wars character who is not human. Go ahead and roll
rolling
your
this time?
dice
Well,
again.
if you want to, you call. You're
I
great.
want blue. Since you keep doing this to me.
Okay.
I rolled
All
red,
right, all
so
right.
you get to go first.
Okay.
Barris.
You know, strangely enough, the respondents did not say Barris.
Oh,
Okay. I was just going
that's
for
not
it.
your real guess. Give a real guess.
All right.
I know you. That was
I'm gonna
great.
say
but
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka is in 3rd place, so good
I
job. That's
didn't
4
even
points.
think of Ahsoka. Yoda.
Yoda is number 1. So good job on that. Another 6 points for Sean.
Chewbacca.
Chewbacca is in 2nd place, so great job. High points.
I'm gonna say Jabba. Jabba the Hutt.
Jabba's in last place,
Chewbacca.
so another one for that.
There's so many aliens.
I know there's a lot of good ones.
I'm gonna go General Grievous.
Nope. Plus he was human. Kind of.
No,
Right?
he was an alien species before
Was
he
he?
got cyborg. Yeah.
Gonna guess Admiral Akbar might be
Good
on
job.
there.
Oh, good job. Yes, that is the 4th
Okay.
answer, so 3 points for that. Got only one more on the board.
Oh, wow, look at that! I'm wearing his shirt. Well, it's my shirt, but he's not.
Could you
I'm not wearing his
He
shirt.
wears that on the days on the Death Star run. He's wearing
Points
his
to
own
his shirt.
Doesn't
Yes.
say anything.
Look.
Not trying to make any signs here, but
It could be a trap.
it might be. I don't know. All right.
Huh.
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 There's so many. I'm just gonna say Chaotic Mindy.
Nope.
I'm gonna guess Grogu will be the last one.
Yep. Grogu's it, so
I think of the
2 points
most
for that.
generic, most basic for these kind of answers.
Yeah, I guess. There's so many
Indeed.
that run through my head.
Wedge got 1 point on Pilot, so like
Biggs wasn't
it's
even
not
on
gonna be
there.
anybody who's slightly obscure in these.
Yeah, this is Family Feud. We're not getting too crazy. So our last board here is name a Star Wars video game. So go ahead and roll your dice. We'll see who goes first on this one.
Oh, I thought.
whoa,
I
hey, whoa.
misunderstood what you wanted. I thought you were.
Hold on, the dice is here. What'd you say? You wanted to?
What color?
What do you want to do? I want to say blue. I
my
think it's
game.
because
This is
my
my
allergy.
game.
Like I just don't feel good. You know. I think
Yeah,
it's my
you're not
nose.
feeling good.
My nose
so
is
your-
throwing me
your-
off.
Yeah, your dice rolls are a little off.
Oh. Hands are sweaty.
Name a Star Wars video game. Problem with this is like there's favorites and then there's popular. So I'm just gonna say Knights of the Old Republic.
Yes, that is the number one answer. So good job on that.
Do you think that it's gonna be like
Knights of the Old Republic 2. Number 2
Jedi Fallen Order?
That is the second answer. So good job.
How
5
funny would
points.
that be if it was the second answer was Knights of the Old Republic 2?
Star Wars Battlefront.
Which
Yep,
one?
that's the third answer. I would have accepted either one,
All
but
of them into yeah.
Yeah. Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy.
nope, sorry.
Thinking really popular. How about Republic Commando?
Nope.
Jedi Outcast.
Nope.
How about the old computer one? I think it's called Galactic Battlegrounds. Is the really old
Dude,
one?
that one was cool. I love
Nope.
that game. Lego Star Wars.
I'm gonna give it to you as Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. There's actually a bunch of Lego
There's so
Star Wars
many of
games,
them.
but yeah, I'll give that to you. That's
That's
the
cool.
second from the bottom. So good job on that.
Empire at War.
Nope.
Dark Forces.
Oh, that was my next guess.
Nope.
Glad that wasn't my next guess.
There's only one more that I'm really thinking of that might be popular.
I'm gonna say Bounty Hunter.
Nope.
Pod Racer.
Nope.
Jedi Starfighter.
Nope.
There's the one that me and you. It's dead now that we kept trying to play.
Oh, Rogue Squadron or Squadron.
Well, actually, Rogue Squadron's way more
I'll say
popular.
Rogue Squadron is what I want to say.
Nope.
Oh.
Just do yours now.
Squadrons then is a
Nope.
different game.
That's it. We're
There
done.
are so many games.
There's a
but
lot of games.
no.
I think that would be the
there's-
last pass.
There's all the movie tie-ins too.
Both
Are-
of the games that are left are games you guys have played. At the very least, you've played them both. I think you've played
Are
them
they
both.
movie tie-ins?
No.
Okay, so they're not because there's a bunch of games that are just Star Wars Episode 1, Star Wars Episode 2. You know what I mean? I don't even remember whose turn it is, to be honest. I think it's yours.
We'll just do one more and call it. Is it the? I'm gonna do a movie tie-in though, because
She just said they're not.
they're not.
It's
Well,
none of
I
those-
can't
none of
think of
those.
any more besides the
Um,
Jedi. You have what? Jedi Outcast. I don't know if I said that or not.
Nope.
X-Wing versus TIE Fighter.
Nope. All right, so let's reveal. In the fourth place, we have Star Wars: The Force Unleashed.
Holy crap!
I
What
was like-
the heck, dude?
I could not believe you guys didn't get that one. I'm like,
we bounced around a lot.
he loves that one.
lot.
Like, I specifically put this on here because he talks about this game all the time. Like, not all the time, but
Yeah, same because of Sam Witwer.
Yeah,
always
we
talk
do. We
about
talk
him.
about it a
Mhm.
lot.
And we just talked about
Star Killer.
Coda.
all kind of-
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I
Rom
was talking
Coda.
to him the other day.
and in the last place, we have Star Wars Jedi Survivor. They were both pretty popular.
Yeah, I
so
thought about that, but I had said Fallen Order, so I didn't.
Yeah,
think
I
that would
assumed
be-
Survivor wouldn't have been on there.
That's cool.
yeah. All right, we can do a final points tally.
Oh,
I have a feeling I know who won, but
It's all because Jango Fett wasn't on there.
that threw you
I
off.
really did.
I'm gonna give you 5 free points.
I don't want that.
No.
Watch it
5 free
Be the 5 free
Jango
points
Fett
that
pity
put me
points.
over. I don't know why they made me so butthurt.
because you'd think he'd be on there. That's how the show is. It's so silly.
It's the father of so many children.
Yeah. But the first thing is what that is when it works on the show anyway, and then what this is simulating is like somebody's knee-jerk reaction, and it's everybody's response to the first person they think of when they think of bounty hunter. So many people are gonna say Boba, and it's like, well, out of 100 people, only one person said Wedge or whatever. That's why the numbers are so kind of skewed sometimes.
Right.
So for our points, we have Jordan at 36,
Congrats!
Yo.
and we have Sean at 55.
Good job.
That's
dude.
more.
more.
Yeah!
Is this your second time?
No, it's my only
winning a
time I've
game?
ever won a game.
I've beat him in the final questions.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, okay.
'Cause last,
Even the ones where
Last
he
week
was
I
doing
above
Last
better.
week
by
was really
800 points or
close.
something, or 8 points or something like
But
that.
yeah, we both got the thing right, and so you had gambled more and you won.
2 weeks ago, I beat you because I got the final question
And I
for
got
Sabe.
none of it, yeah.
Well, cool. That
Very
wasn't
cool.
too bad.
I liked it. Yeah, that was fun.
good. It was tough. Yeah, it was good though.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I liked that game. Appreciate you arranging all that for us and getting
Yeah,
it all
thank
set
you.
up. It was pretty
Miss
cool.
Abby.
Of course.
Always like the games. Games are always fun.
Yeah, I I like a lot of them, so I'm glad we can kind of keep reusing some of them
Yeah,
down
same.
the road. It'll be cool.
Yeah, I mean it's enjoyable. It's just us having a good time. Hopefully
Absolutely.
everybody listening, whether it's watching or just
Playing along with us somehow.
yeah,
Yeah,
you know,
I love it.
I like to think. But well, cool, good episode. Not too bad. Good movie, good game. Tied it in pretty good together. So
Absolutely.
that's awesome. But all right, everybody. Well, thank you for stopping by, checking in, and tuning in with us on this episode. Give us a like and then subscribe right there on the YouTube if you're watching from there. If not, head over to the Facebook page and follow us up on there. And as always, may the laughs be with you.
Thanks. Goodbye.